I thank the member for Wright and I call the member for Indi.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And I'd also like to second your comments, Member for Wright. It's just fantastic to see the passion and interest you have in education and acknowledging all those wonderful people that do the work they do, and I'd like to be associated with your comments. But today, I'd particularly like to talk about financial assistance grants to local government. And I've previously addressed this House regarding these grants and the decision to freeze indexation as part of the government's budget cuts. And today, I wish to talk about the impacts of this indexation freeze on my electorate of Indi and highlight the unintended consequences of this policy for the small rural and regional councils that I represent. Firstly, Madam Deputy Speaker, let me make it clear that the impact of this policy on local government budgets is hitting small and regional councils far more heavily than their metropolitan counterparts, as you would know. Small rural and regional councils, including those in Indi, rely on this funding to support operational activities. And the impact of the freeze becomes clear when you understand how this money contributes to councils' overall income. In Tauranga Shire, the financial assistance grants of $3.6 million makes up 22% of the council's annual income. And in Mansfield and Indigo, grants of $2.6 million and $4.2 million respectively provide 19% and 18% of the council's annual budgets. But in contrast, the City of Geelong receives $19 million annually, and this comes in at just 7% of their total revenue. And for the cities of Wyndham, Casey, Whittlesea, Greater Dandenong, Brimback and Hume, who all receive over $10 million annually through the Financial Assistance Grants program, this funding contributes only 3 to 8% of their total income. Freezing indexation for large metropolitan councils like these, where the grant makes up such a small percentage of their income, may have negligible effects. However, in my electorate of Indi, this grant makes up a significant proportion of the council's budgets, and these cuts are having a really big impact on the communities that I represent. And over the 3 financial years from 2014-15 to 2016-17, the approximate losses are in the Alpine Shire, $600,000, in the rural city of Benalla, $630,000, in Indigo Shire, $750,000, in Mansfield Shire, $470,000, Murrindindi, $740,000, Tauranga Shire, $658,000, and Wangaratta City Council, $1,100,000, and Wodonga City, $780,000. That's a total of nearly $5.7 million that's been taken out of Indi, and way, way beyond what we deserve. The losses in Indi cannot be regrouped, and in fact councils are facing an additional financial burden due to the Victorian State Government's decision to cap rate rises. In addition to this, the Victorian Government has just announced that the Country Roads and Bridges program will not be renewed, putting an additional pressure on local councils' budgets. One council has described the freezing as the straw that's breaking the camel's back. This is really serious stuff that I'm talking about today. And what it actually means on the ground is that community swimming pools, skate parks, recreation reserves, parks and gardens will receive less maintenance. It will mean reductions in other council services like maternal and child health, immunisation programs in libraries. It means that the local transfer station will go from maybe 3 days a week to 1 day a week. These are impacts that will be felt by communities and visitors right across Indi. The member opposite has suggested I blame the Labor Party. Since when would we be attributing blame for decisions made in last year's budget to some historical feat? So my call today is asking my members opposite, who represent rural communities, to get here and battle for us so that this indexation will finish and be reinstated the next budget. Sadly, the problems faced by this decision to freeze indexation are not limited to just this 3-year period. The impact will go on and on. So what I would really be grateful for, to the 4 or 5 members of the government who are here today, we can stop this, we can reintroduce indexation, and it would make a huge difference. Madam Deputy Speaker is also a member of the government. It will make a huge difference to communities like mine in the future that we need to face, hopefully with particular emphasis on the importance of rural and regional communities and how they need more attention from government, not less. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
I thank the member for Indi and I call